Yes, everybody, what's going on? My name is Stephen Howson. This is Cam. This is Abdul. This is United Review. Thank you guys for joining us. We're going for 1,000 likes today, so get smashing that like button. United have drawn 2-2 at Stamford Bridge, and I got to be honest with you, I didn't expect it. Now, Cameron's on here. You've probably seen him, especially if you're part of the Patreon, you've seen him in loads of behind-the-scenes stuff. Cameron's a Chelsea fan.
I am indeed.
So, wasn't looking forward to having you on here today, but it changed.
I said before the game, I was speaking to Mike before the game, I said that I reckon it would be a draw. I just had to, there was a feeling, like everyone was saying, a lot of Blues were saying that we were going to win quite convincingly, quite comfortably. But there was just something in the back of my mind, especially working with you lot. And sitting next to this guy as well during the game, I was just like, we're going to draw this. And then when you took the lead, I was like, oh my God. And then obviously, you know, the king, Ross Barkley.
Felt like when we took the lead, I thought it was going to hold on, especially as it clicked over into the night. I thought it was going to win.
Oh, definitely.
I thought it was going to.
I think I was worried about Barkley coming on.
You did say that.
Because I said it from the start.
Got an agenda.
He offers something different to Kovacic, and I think when they were playing on the counter, which I think we sort of forced them to, I would have rather had Barkley if I was a Chelsea fan than Kovacic.
Yeah, I was happy when he came on. I said to you, here we go. We're going to get
Kovacic was a better option against Liverpool because they played out the press.
He's
not as attacking though. That's the thing. He doesn't finish things. He's great in the build-up, but he doesn't. I don't think he's there for like the finishing or the goals.
Abdul, where the hell did this come from? Because we saw that starting 11 and I was like, oh my God, he's finally lost his mind. Like, this is not the sort of team that you want to go to Chelsea with. This is a very attacking team. This is a team that you probably play against Derby in the Cup. Like, this isn't, you know, 3 attacking forwards. One Matter played as a number 8, who for me was man of the match, and I'll fight 100%. Anyone who disagrees with me.
100%.
Like, it was, Juan Mata was absolutely instrumental in everything that we did today. Not a Jose Mourinho midfielder. Slow, small. Like,
do you know what it is with Mata? I think it's because of how he reads the game. Although his body's not suited to it in terms of his pace and his ability and that side of things.
Such a technical footballer, it's ridiculous.
But he understands the game, so he gets his tackles in. And we've seen that in the second half because he reads the game really well. And sometimes you need that. We've seen that with Michael Carrick towards the end of his career. Ryan Giggs as well when he was dropping deeper, and his understanding of the game is brilliant. I think it was brilliant to see him so aggressive as well, getting a couple of tackles in the end, and that's what Mourinho wants to see. But I was pretty shocked, to be honest, with that lineup at the start. Honestly, mate.
Is it not something that you guys wanted to see though? As a United fans, did you not want to see like a more attacking lineup than
not against Chelsea away?
Than having like Fellaini, Matic.
Yes, but not like
you guys were saying to me before that you wanted Fred and Herrera to start.
Yeah,
I wanted
energy.
Herrera,
and I think they're attacking in their own.
Do you think if you had Fred and Herrera, they would battle Kante and Jorginho a lot better?
Yeah, I think that was the idea in my head that I think would have worked.
What I think he ended up going for, Matic is still, the jury's a little bit out on his effectiveness at the moment, I think. And I think that Ander Herrera could do what Matic is doing for us very well.
Yeah.
Fred, I thought, was just going to be a lot more dynamic. And I've actually said, why can't we play Mata as a number 8 probably more than a year ago? But I never expected to see it. Yeah. So you stop asking for it.
I don't understand why Mourinho does play him out wide. I think he's a definite central.
Yeah. He absolutely is. Always assumed as a 10, but when you look at what David Silva did, he did, but he like what Lukaku does for us. Yeah, he drifts over to the right. So maybe he just gone, let's play him on the right. With what Silva's done at City, you go, I'd like to see Juan Mata tried in that role. And again, you can't judge anyone off one game. You've got to give him 5 or 6 games. But I was very impressed with him. I mean, what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments what you guys saying. And before we get stuck proper into the comments, I'm going to come to the Patreon group. Now, we are on 439 in the Patreon group. If we get to 450, there's another video that I can release today. So if you want to come and join Patreon, we have got Match Day Chat, which it is good, and I mean, it was too busy for me to even get in and read today. But if you're looking for someone to like, a group of Reds that are pretty level-headed, for obvious reasons, they're fans of this channel, so they like the level-headed stuff. You can come and get that in our Patreon group. But we've also got stuff where questions will get highlighted extra. There's behind the scenes, any inside info that I'm getting about anything like that, and there's loads going on at the moment about Jose and when he'll go and if he'll go and all that kind of stuff, as well as vlogs, which is definitely going to be worth checking out for Abdul's reaction to the goal today. Ben Thornley reading the Class of 92 programme this week. There's lots of stuff and lots of reasons to join Patreon. I'm putting a big emphasis on Patreon going forward. We've got a great community of Reds in there at the moment, and we will be bringing back things like the Thursday Club to YouTube and the Meat Pie to YouTube on the back of hitting certain Patreon milestones. So come and take a look and have a gander, and if you like it, come and join us. And it's less than £1 a week for a lot more extra content and a lot of really good stuff. Anyone who's in the Patreon group, do you want to get commenting and let everybody know your thoughts on it? Sonny Dortmund says, Steve on a different planet, Mata was shite. Okay, pal, I'm just going to move on. That doesn't even want an answer.
I think Rashford had a bad game.
I would agree, to be honest. I'm a big Marcus.
He had a great... He played that ball to Martial for the first goal, didn't he? That was probably his biggest
People talk
influence.
about Marcus Rashford's progress and whether he's progressed or not, but Marcus Rashford, when he first come out, burst onto the scene, you could say, he never really had that pass in him. That, you know, that pass, that cheeky pass across goal and really trying and risking a pass at that moment. And I really like that from Marcus Rashford, because I think he lacked that before. Yeah,
I think he's a totally different player than he was. You couldn't put him back in the academy.
Eden Hazard wouldn't have done that to him a few years ago, would he?
No, he wouldn't have. No, he was obviously threatened by him. He probably
it was a tactical foul. He was going to come into the box, so
he's still learning his trade, and he's still playing. He's played a handful of games on that right hand side. I think he can be wasteful in possession at times, especially as he's trying to put the ball into the box, which he did.
Player,
of course, young players need that. We see that with Ronaldo when he was there. We've seen that with many young players. You said something interesting about De Gea playing right back.
Let me just read this comment out. Yeah. Ruby Conroy says, Stephen, you always think you're right. Ruby, do you walk around saying things that you know to be incorrect? Of course I always think I'm fucking right, you idiot. No one goes around saying things that they know to be false, do they? Jesus, where? As you were.
Sorry, Apple.
I was just talking about De Gea, and I think how he complement having Marcus Rashford on the right. Don't know if you guys would agree, but we were speaking about it before. When we look at the young boys game, I think it was only one game, but I could really see someone who's more technical, who can read the game a lot better from right back compared to Ashley Young and what Valencia will offer. I think that's someone that can really up Marcus Rashford's game, and I really want to see those two together soon, to be honest.
We've got some comments here saying Mourinho is a disgrace. Didn't he say it was a free country? Is there a rule that you can't celebrate in front of him? I haven't seen the quotes from Jose. Will, can you keep an eye out on socials and just see if there's anything that comes through about what Jose said?
Where he's also celebrated quite.
Right, there's the difference, because this is the thing that everyone's going to pull up. Jose's ran down a touchline. That guy definitely said something to him. Now, but like, you've got to be. I'm sure the crowd said stuff to him.
In the burst of the moment, like, it's quite a heated situation. If you score a last-minute equaliser, you're not just going to sit there in your seat.
No, but this was the first one.
I do understand, like,
no, but he got up, went to Manchester United's dugout, went to Jose Mourinho's. No, before
on the way back.
Not on the way back. He said something, but he can't just fist bump right in front of him.
Yeah.
Like, that is just. If Mourinho had done that, honestly, it would be over. Mourinho goes down the touchline, celebrates with his fans. That's how it's meant to be done. I love when Mourinho used to do that at Chelsea. I want my manager to go down the touchline.
Yeah. I think it's like. I think from a United point of view, the fact that he got rattled by it and the fact that your bench was a bit up for it just shows a bit more passion that you've got.
Yeah, I like that.
Maybe he's kept the dressing room.
Chris Smalling's just tweeted the Tony Marshall song. I like that.
Yes.
I'm just going to see if there's any quotes that have come up. United Extra is usually pretty good at banging out any quotes that have happened. So I'm just going to try and find some of those here now. I'm just on theirs and see if I can see any. It doesn't look like there's been anything. Redknapp has said something. Mourinho. What happened was with Sarri's assistant, he was the first one to come to me and say he would resolve the problem internally. After that, his assistant came to me in Sarri's office and apologised. I accepted it and told him to forget it. Well, there you go. It's over, maybe.
It won't be over for the press, though, will it?
Absolutely not.
That'll be next week's headline.
Yeah, well, until we play Juventus, and I'm sure there's going to be all sorts of headlines coming out about that with Ronaldo and all the rest of it. Keep getting your questions in, lads, and everyone on Patreon as well, get your questions in. I'm going to come to those in a second. We've got over 1,000 watching, only 100 likes, so get smashing the like button if you're enjoying the content. So, who do you think was man of the match then? Because I've said Matta's mine. Do you agree?
I agree. 100% agree.
Chelsea perspective?
Well, Ross Barkley obviously got the equaliser for us, came on and changed the game a bit. But I quite like Rudiger. I think Rudiger's quite solid at the back. It's I've got to give it to Ross Barkley because like he's won us.
He did change the game.
He's got us to the point there.
He was like a spare man in front of our defence. That obviously
I rate the kid.
I rate him. I rate him a lot as well.
He's all right.
Martial had 2
coming into the England team again. Goals. He scored 2 consecutive goals now in the league. He's a great player.
Chelsea have been phenomenal this season. Yeah. There's going to be a huge overreaction because let's face it, that's football. So Chelsea finished now.
No.
No, obviously not. But like, you've drawn at home to Liverpool, you've drawn at home to United.
We should have beat you. First half, we were so dominant, just wasteful in terms of the chances.
I think you exploited more than any other. Maybe Arsenal. I thought when we played you, and I was doing my preview and looking at Chelsea's weaknesses. The amount of times Arsenal pulled the ball back.
There's a guy who's an absolute idiot, and he always comments utter bollocks. So I'm going to just block him. But he's just commented this: Mourinho tops them all by poking another manager in the eye. The poor man died of cancer a few years later, like it was related. Come on, son, get out of it.
But yeah, first half we dominated you.
Yeah.
I thought we should have put some more.
I think second half you probably dominated.
Second half, the stats say in second half we dominated you.
Kept the ball.
Thing is, you were more clinical. You had 6 shots, and I think 4 of them were on target, and 2 of them were goals. I think for the
majority of the second half, I think Mourinho got out of his team what he originally wanted. Was you guys had the ball, but without purpose at times.
When you went in front, though, I did think that you won it. I didn't. In the vlog, I did say.
I think it's a fair result in the end.
No doubt about it. We would have got the equaliser, but when we did get the equaliser, I was actually proper happy.
Was it a fair result?
I was happy, but
was it a fair result?
Fair result.
I'd say, yeah.
In terms of how the second half planned out, yes. Yeah. But before, like, if you look into if you only watch the first half, to say that it ended up as 2-2, you'd be like,
well,
what?
you know, you scored from a set piece, which we should have done better from.
You guys in set pieces, you can't defend set pieces. Like, you need like Sam Allardyce to come in for a week or something like. Honestly. What do you think about that set piece then, if we take our mind back to that? Paul Pogba having a go at Lindelof afterwards, or is he just frustrated?
I think he was venting, yeah.
What's he doing? Why isn't he switched on at the corner? Why is he talking to him?
I think because Lindelof was in his ways, he was trying to
try and get ex-mirror.
He's actually shouting at himself more, like, because he was jumping up and down, and he's just gone mad.
It's just Pogba, isn't it? There's something about him, like, his turns in the game, unreal. But like, I'd have him at Chelsea, but everyone would have him, but everyone slags him off.
It won't do it in studio mode if you're, unless you go to a different scene. So that's going out live. Get rid of
that. Go to window capture.
Window capture.
Unsee it.
Window capture.
There.
Double click it.
Unclick it. Wow. That's like a face reveal.
Right, double click it. He's lost his head's gone here.
His head's gone.
His head's gone. Click on the iPhone.
It's not there.
It's not there.
Yeah.
Oh. Right. I'm going to come to some of the comments.
Go into it now.
What's up with the Mourinho Hazard romance? Don't know what you're talking about there.
Go into it now.
It was the comments they've both been making back and forth.
All right.
He said he'd take him at United, but Chelsea wouldn't sell.
Have we got it? Yeah, we've got it. There we go. All right, let's have a look.
Go back off of studio mode.
There we go. We got it on.
Take it across. Or like.
I'll just leave it there. It just covers you up, and that's what we want. So happy days. So as you can see there, Chelsea 21 shots, 6 on target, 4 big chances. Can we have a look at those? No, I can't click straight onto those. 7 shots from United, 4 on target, only 1 big chance. 500 and odd passes completed, more than double what United have done. Loads of attacking third passes. It really was Chelsea's game. I had a quick look earlier and I had a look at the passes. Now, unfortunately, we can't really zoom in too much on any of those. If I go that way, does it do it? It does change it usually, I think. No, it's not it. If you look at Chelsea's, you can see that right around the middle of the pitch, and then sort of on the edge of our third, there's a hell of a lot. But they kept it out of the box. United stayed compact, and we kept everything out of our box pretty well. So credit to everyone involved there. And you can see the chances created, the key passes there for Chelsea. If I go to attack, let's have a look at them. Oh man, that's an absolute mess. Can't even look at that. You can see the pale blue images there, the pale blue lines. They're not a lot into the box, which means that we was keeping them out. By the same rule, we didn't get much into their box either, although it looks like there's probably a couple more passes in there. They kept us out of their box, and if you look how many red passes there are, United was going direct quite a lot for all of that. So it was a park in the bus, but I don't think
the amount of passes you had.
You what?
In the first half, we had double the amount of passes you had.
I'm sure.
And like almost double attacking third passes as well.
Yep.
Like.
Yep.
Yep.
Going into the Juventus game, do you think Mourinho keeps
tripled it actually? Now that's an interesting question. Get rid of that if you want now, for now, Will. I think that's a very interesting question. What do you guys think in the comments? Do you think Jose does keep this side going into the? I think it's.
How long has he extended?
I think you got to play under Herrera, mate.
You have to.
How long has he extended his job? From this result, do you think? Is it week on week? Do you think at the moment?
I think it's got to be week on week. I mean, what do you guys think? What do you think?
I think it's week on week. 100%, I agree.
I think we could have lost here today, as long as he wasn't battered.
Oh, right, yeah, and he might keep the job.
Yeah, I think that would have been fine. And I think we could have lost at Juve, and it could have gone either way.
Yeah.
I think if it had been sacked after 2 defeats, even if they were close, I don't think anyone would moan.
Yeah.
I think if he wins both and then gets sacked, that's mad.
Yeah.
And I reckon that the board probably aren't looking to sack him on a victory, which might have been why he kept his job last week.
Yeah. As a United fan, though, right, do you not see this as a loss? Like, not a loss, but like, you should have won that game after being 2-1 up.
No, because
seen it out last minute we equalised.
It's disappointing.
You've got to be gutted.
It's disappointing that you don't get the win, and that's disappointing if you don't get the win whenever.
Yeah.
But you don't like.
Do you not walk away from there, like?
And when you'd have took a draw today, wouldn't you? I'd been like, absolutely, I'd have took a draw today. It's on you to win your home games. It's on us to get a draw. That's it. I think it's a top 6 opposition. That is it.
That's how it is. It's always been that.
Cold light of day. That's it. That's last year's Anfield result was a result for United.
Yeah.
And then we beat them at home. Boom. That's all you got to do.
That's true.
Bring them back to our place, beat you, get a draw away, winning. If we beat you on your turf, then that's a bad result for you.
Something we can all agree on.
You said you'd get Herrera.
Never a bad result to lose.
Who does Herrera come in for? In this midfield?
Absolutely Matic for me.
What was going on with Fred then? Because obviously you bought him, you just don't see him anymore.
I don't think he was ever bought to be a starter.
He didn't look bad at all.
It's like when we first bought Barkley, obviously he's never really played, but now he's sort of breaking his way into the team. Do you reckon that'll happen with Fred?
I think he'll break in eventually.
I think he will. I think he's got the ability. He's looked good when he's played in the right system. I think he's been unfortunate in some of the games he's been in.
Thing is with Mourinho, obviously he's been with us before, obviously. Won us 3 titles. But like,
how many?
3.
Okay.
But shut up. But like, in the 3rd season, this always happens.
No, shut up.
Always
don't feed
happens.
into this press line about.
It does, doesn't it?
Okay, can you tell me who else has lasted 3 seasons at Chelsea or Real Madrid?
Obviously, I've worked with you for
I'll give you an
6
idea.
months now. I understand what you mean.
Nobody.
I mean, he does just.
Nobody's come close. Zidane didn't do 3 years at Madrid. He did 2.5.
Did the players get bored of him or what?
No one else comes close to lasting out 3 years at Chelsea or Madrid.
At United, they do. There's a man called Alex Ferguson.
Okay, that's a little bit different.
That's that one in like a billion.
He lasted 3 years at clubs where the average life cycle of a manager is 11 months.
Yeah.
Conte is like I think the next one at Chelsea in the since. It's Ranieri was the last person to do that length of time at Chelsea, and that is pre-Abramovich. So the only person at Chelsea that has done 3 years is Jose. Joe, the last time a manager did 3 years at Real Madrid,
because he goes to loads of different clubs for 3 years.
Look how relevant it is. Loads, I mean 2.
Yeah.
Look how relevant it is. Who was the last manager to do 3 years at Real Madrid?
God knows. I don't know.
Del Bosque.
Who the bloody hell's that?
Exactly. It's in 2000. So
I was only 2.
So no, he's going to clubs and only doing 3 years at clubs that people only do a fucking year.
Fair enough.
So you can't say there might be some truth to that he does burn players out, but you can't look at the clubs he's done 3 years at and say everyone else gets 5 and he's fucking it up after 3. He's actually extending what everyone else does, so he's better than all the other managers.
So why is it always the 3rd year that he collapsed in it though?
I mean, it's happened twice.
Like you said, it's the clubs that he's been at, and that's proof.
No, but like
the way those clubs are run.
No, but it always seems to be the third year it happens.
Being twice, it's happened.
Well, twice, and it was because of the ways the
it's not even twice, because he lasted 3 years.
And when he's left before...
Yeah, but he lasted over 3 years. He went into his 4th season at Chelsea.
In Porto and Inter, he left them at the peak in Porto and Inter.
Didn't leave Chelsea at the peak when he left.
No, but when he left Chelsea and Madrid, Chelsea the 2nd time, obviously it was the way those clubs are run.
Some of the comments saying Zidane lasted 3 years. He lasted 2.5. He didn't get to 3 years. That's my point. He didn't do 3 years. He did 2.5. Do you think he got to 3 Champions League finals? Of course he did. Fantastic. But he didn't last 3 years.
How much do you rate him as a manager, or how much do you rate the team?
Who?
Was Zidane?
We don't know.
If you brought Zidane into a United setup, do you think he'd just walk the Champions League again?
No,
or if you put Mourinho,
imagine if he did.
If you put Mourinho
like the Champions League whisperer.
If you put Mourinho into that Real Madrid team that Zidane had with Ronaldo, do you reckon Mourinho would win 3 on the bounce?
I think he'd win 1.
I think he'd get 1.
I think you need a hell of a lot of luck. That's the problem.
So what do you think?
No one wins 3 on a bounce. Yeah. No one retained it until Zidane, and then he retained it again. It's unprecedented to win 3 in a row.
If you think about the way he left Madrid,
I'd like to see him in the Premier League and see how
well,
good
they fell apart.
A lot of teams.
They've lost Ronaldo. They've lost Zidane. They fell apart. They lost again today.
He lost winning mentality.
Yeah,
on that
so
side, and he lost goals.
Ronaldo's a goal a game. That's hard to replace. That is fucking hard to replace.
As soon as he's on fire.
But Zidane still had an excellent side. Would Zidane have had the fall off that this team?
Do you reckon that's why Zidane left? Because he knew Ronaldo was going.
No, I don't think it's that.
Maybe.
No, I don't think it's that. Personally, I don't think it's that. I think it was just he must have thought it was the right time. 3 Champions Leagues. He even got a league title in between there. I think that's enough for Zidane, and he was just like,
again, this is a club, Real Madrid, like Chelsea. You know that even that level of success, 3 Champions Leagues and 1 league title, they were still talking about sacking him. They were talking about sacking him in February and March this year.
Because he wasn't doing good enough in the league and didn't care. We're bored of winning the Champions League.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Though.
But that's the case, and that's those clubs.
And that was make a game now.
My fear when Jose Mourinho came to United was that would be the case. Is that Jose was entering United, or United was entering into period by bringing Jose in, that you are now going to be Chelsea and Real Madrid, where you just bring in a new manager every couple of years.
Yes, that's the word.
I don't know how Chelsea are successful doing that. Because you are. You've been successful for 15 years or so with that model.
Money.
When we sacked Villas-Boas when we won our Champions League, bloody
Di Matteo.
Yeah, Di Matteo comes in and just cheeky little smile.
Like in the FA Cup and Champions.
Yeah, FA Cup and Champions League after and then we get rid of him.
Ancelotti comes in, does 2 years, wins a double. Conte comes in, wins the league. Mourinho comes in, wins the league.
Abramovich just wants success like that, and if you're not getting him instant success, you're out the door.
Imagine working for him.
No, I can't.
It must be so frustrating.
It's like double you.
It's not like double me. I'm a top boss.
Yeah, it's not bad. Especially when Abdul comes in late all the time, right?
What? I was on time today.
Same.
If you call 3 hours.
Right, let's go to the Patreon group and get some questions and see what y'all are saying. Still no Instat. As soon as we get it, we'll give it you. Hence why we've not had it yet. Let's see. Ryan says, do you reckon the first half we follow Jose's tactics and the second half the players go fuck it and play their way? Newcastle, yeah. Not today, though. Didn't feel like that today. It felt like what we was doing in the first half we carried on doing, and we just had more success.
We just lost our heads, I think, because if you look at our first half shape and then our second half, we were all over at the back, just like completely loose.
No, I think
you've been all over all season.
You were pulling strings. You've just left, right, left, right.
And much like what City have been prior to last season, what you've been doing is you've been playing excellent football going forward, and it's always a consequence of having so much attacking thought.
It's like, I think we were talking about Marcus Alonso, brilliant going forwards, but I said to you, he gets caught out too many times when we're defending, because he likes to stay high, and then it's just like...
This is a consequence.
You've got Rashford on him, he just runs in behind him.
The other end
Alonso's not as fast as Rashford, so as Rashford's got 5 yards on him, just a ping over, he's out of position. When do you see Hazard track back and then he's tracking back Rashford?
When you have any style of play, any system, anything like that, you have to give and take. So what City did last year and to an extent still do this year, and they mitigate that by having that halfway line foul. Instats just come through. Do you want to grab your laptop and chop some of them up? I'll forward it to you. You mitigate what's going on. If you're City and you know that if you get countered, you've got to panic. But you also know if you've got 65% possession, you ain't going to have that many attacks coming at you. Chelsea are the same way, that because they look so good going forward and so what's it with the ball, Liverpool are very similar too. There's no coincidence that those 3 teams playing a variation of the same football are all fragile at the back and can be got at. Yeah, this is the give and take that you have.
Balance.
Yeah, and United have arguably been too defensive in our setup at times, and we don't commit enough men going forward, and that's when we don't create enough chances.
I think when we play City, it will be a really good test to see where we are in terms of...
I think in the second half we spoke about if we did something different. I think we did, and what Martial did in the second half, I really liked. I don't know if you noticed the movement, but every time Ashley Young or Marcus Rashford picked the ball up, Martial wasn't getting into the box. And what Martial and Rashford did as well, I felt like they were on David Luiz and Rudiger, and in between the fullbacks as well. They didn't do that in the first half. I think the plan from the start was to press, because Chelsea's weakness is in defence.
But we didn't press, really.
In the second half, we did a lot more. When we won the ball back, I thought we were in better positions to attack them. In the first half, I felt like there was just a misunderstanding in the way we wanted to win the ball back. In the second half, every time we got the ball, there was options around the likes of Mata and Martial and Rashford.
Well, we've got the Instat stuff. If you duplicate the live that we're on and then go into studio mode, Yeah, and then you'll be able to start putting it in, ready for when we can go. Cam's just chopping it up for you now. Back into the questions, sorry, and let's see what we're saying. So Mon says, maybe we've been looking at this the wrong way. Rather than assuming Jose is a dead man walking, is there a path for him to unify the squad? Maybe we have been looking at it the wrong way. I mean, you know, the things that we get told is one man's view. The same with transfers. There might be 8 people involved and one guy is giving you his opinion. No one was ever certain that he was going to be sacked, unless we was properly embarrassed. But in my head, I'd sort of resolved that it was a matter of time he was going. Is there a way? I mean, I think we're going to lose heavily to City still, and I think over 2 games, Juventus are probably going to embarrass us.
Do you actually think that, or is that just you guys saying that just to like calm yourselves down in case it happens?
Well, there he goes.
No, that you're going to lose heavily to City, or you're going to lose heavily to Chelsea. Like today, you were both like, "Oh, we're going to get battered here," but like, are you saying that? Like,
where does this performance come from? Because
no, but are you saying this just to be like, so that if you do get battered, you're like, "Oh, I expected it," or are you saying it just like if you win, you're like, "Ah, get in." Or like, is it just like a confidence issue you have on the team? Or what?
I think it's just
it's an evidence.
I think Steve would agree. If we set up with the side we did today, maybe Chelsea way is suicidal almost the way that we thought it might go today. But if we set up like this against City, I just can't see us winning. Never mind, like can't see us even reducing a battering.
But I couldn't see that today. It depends, like, because the one way to counter what City do has always been to play into the channels behind the full-backs.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that was probably a little bit what we were trying to do today. Rashford not quite on it, didn't really get enough of the ball. I think, you know, he just wasn't on the ball anywhere near. I thought the whole forward three. I know people are going to be going blue because Martial scored 2, but his involvement in the play, actually,
it's the type of game you play.
Do us a favour, just take it off studio mode and go on to just onto my phone so I can show you what I'm talking about exactly. So here's Tony Marshall's passes. Now, all of his passes here, 25 of 30. Look how many are backward passes.
I think you've got to look at it more.
Break it down.
Are they
the type of game you're at.
Not all of them.
If it's a 1-2, then
most of them wasn't. But look at this. How many backward passes? They're not 1-2s. They're far too long. That's how many. 16 out of 16 successful backward passes. Forward passes was 5 out of 6. Some of them in our own half. Probably 1 was an attacking pass.
I think you've got to look at what Luke Shaw might offer on a different match day. Luke Shaw today, I think Willian did a great job in terms of pressing him, went off the ball. I think he kept Luke Shaw at bay, and Luke Shaw has been a brilliant outlet.
Luke Shaw was quiet because of Willian, and that's why I can see why Jose wanted it.
Against Newcastle, when Luke Shaw was getting involved in the end, you really get the best out of Martial, because yes, Martial wants to take a couple of players on, but sometimes he needs that extra option. He wasn't getting that. And the difference on the right side was, what was Ashley Young doing? Ashley Young was overlapping at the right times for Marcus Rashford, and we've seen a bit more space on the right side that Martial wasn't getting, and I think you've got to look at that. Now, just going back to City, I think we might end up playing City at the right time of the season, you know, because they played so many games where they've not really faced anyone. I think whether they get De Bruyne back or not, they played in a certain style where they're pushing up the pitch.
De Bruyne's playing.
Is he back? Is he back?
He's already back.
So obviously he's already back. He's already back from Barcelona with a special surgery. So obviously, I think you've got to look into that, because they've been playing a certain style. They've not really faced anyone big. They could struggle if we counter them with, again, like today. But we're going to have Fred or Herrera in the middle, because that lack of energy, if we turn up like that against City, we're going to get absolutely run all over the park.
Same as in the first half against Newcastle. That performance is there in United, but what's frustrating is the second half performance is there in United as well. So you can't predict or analyse what's going on, because you don't know what the genesis of it is. When you look at what Chelsea have done this season, and you see the difference from this season to last season, and you know what Sarri brought with him from Napoli, you can identify this is what Sarri is trying to do. And the frailties that you have in what Chelsea do, those are inherent frailties in his system. The same with all systems have frailties and positives and negatives. But you can look at what Sarri's trying to implement, and you can go, he's got the players on side, this is what he's trying to do. He didn't get a result today at United, but maybe he feels like he did by getting the equaliser at the end. When you look at what's going on with United, the system that we play today and the lineup that we play today is not what Jose Mourinho brings. So where did this come from? Is it Jose caving in? Is it Carrick McKenna? Is it Jose going, I've lost my job if I lose anyway, balls to it?
All or nothing mentality.
What is it?
Innit?
That's the problem.
It's all or nothing mentality.
So if this is what's frustrating, because yes, it's an all or nothing mentality. If he goes and says, right, in the Juventus game, we play like this and we get a result, and then in the City game we play like this and they get a result, but then in 7 weeks' time when we play Liverpool or we play Arsenal and we go back to Jose's normal style of play.
That was my problem.
Do you know what I thought was quite
his job is safe
with Mourinho today? His substitutions.
I liked him at the time.
I would have thought 2-1 up, typical Mourinho. Defensive substitutions see the game out.
They were defensive substitutions.
They were defensive
in terms of
holding the ball. Yeah,
I thought he was looking to hold the ball.
Even on two wingers though.
I think Pereira's positioning was brilliant. I think Pereira's positioning was great on the right side. He really sort of kept that right side at bay where Hazard was coming down a lot more.
But you would have usually have saw like a Fellaini or something. Obviously he wasn't there today, but like something like that, just sat there in front of the defence, nothing's getting past. But
I think Juventus is going to be really interesting. I think that game's going to really show us what Mourinho's mindset is right now. I think that would answer a bit more of the questions that we have.
I'm just going to have a quick look at Instat as well, because even though he's chopping them all up, I don't know what the content of the thing is, and normally we get a good 15 minutes or so to actually go through this and have a look live at the stats. So for all the people that were saying Juan Mata was a number 10, he was very clearly a number 8, and you'll see that when we get them. You've got the average positions ready to roll? All right, let's go with that then. So, as you can see there, Juan Mata, Matic and Pogba. The shape of this team is actually very good. Rashford pulled back a little bit, not quite as effective, but the shape of the team was very, very good, I thought. Interesting that Ander Herrera's positioning from when he was brought on is the most furthest forward of all of our players.
He pressed from the front, did he?
And Sanchez is a little bit, as we were saying, a little bit more reserved than Martial was. No positioning for Andreas Pereira unless he's hidden under somebody. I can't see where his positioning is.
It might be more Ashley Young's side if there is anything.
It will be, but he's not showing up on it, and he was on longer than Sanchez, so I don't know how that's happened, unless he just didn't touch the ball, so they've not had a chance to clip his up. But that's an interesting. Chelsea's is very far forward. They've only got 2 players in their half.
This is what I think.
But as you can see, Alonso's positioning is very high there.
Yeah, you see, Azpilicueta on the halfway line. I think Alonso and Hazard, when they play on that side, they just sort of become like 2 left wingers, and just Ashley Young, he played well today, to be fair to him, but like usually that's where you'd see him get like just absolutely ran over.
Who else we got?
In the first half, we got caught a couple of times, but he really got himself together.
They're all going through now.
All right, so I'm just having a quick look at everybody else's involvement. To see if there's anything.
I think one thing I thought was different. If you compare Jorginho and Pogba, your 2 centre mids. Jorginho seems to get a lot of touches across the whole, the whole pitch, like not just one side. Whereas Pogba seemed to be more on the left-hand side of the pitch.
I think you got to look at
that's the difference between the 2 players.
I think you got to look at the teammates. For example, Kante's position. I don't know. You notice more as a Chelsea fan.
He's on the right. He's on the right.
I think it's a little more advanced at times.
Kante and Pogba's positioning, looking at this, would actually like bookend really well with each other's. That would probably be a really good midfield, but then I think you still need someone who's a bit more defensive.
I think Kante presses from the front really well this season, something that I've not seen previous managers use.
Who was your midfield 3 today?
Matic, Pogba, the majority.
Yes, so as we were saying, like Pogba, Matic and Mata. I'm going to go back to the questions on Patreon. Connor says, was bringing Sanchez on worse for the team than leaving Martial on? Sanchez didn't seem to do much defensively. Should we have brought...
Sanchez didn't do anything when he came on. He got about 5 touches of the ball.
But I understand, like we said, you can't look back with hindsight and go, oh yeah, that was the right thing or the wrong thing to do. He didn't cause the goal, but...
De Gea made a great save as well.
I understood the reason for keeping him on. He was a little bit more reserved in a way, although he does lose possession more technically than Martial does. I understood it.
Yeah, I think I understood.
And the same with Pereira on the other side. I understood.
I like the Pereira change. I like to see Pereira when we're closing off a game.
Glad to see him on.
Did you like to see him on the wing?
Chasing down.
Obviously, because I sit here and watch United with you all the time. You guys want to see him in the middle, but then you've been I've
said give him a chance to just because he's something different, like what David Beckham offers you as a right winger. Pereira's got that level of crossing, not quite, but he's got that high level of crossing that nobody else in the squad's got, so he can give you something.
Even on corners, like I know it's just corners, but honestly, like imagine having Pereira on the pitch. We can't seem to hit any corner right. And the players that we get in the box, Pogba, Smalling, Lukaku, you got some series.
In the questions, Ryan Hall, if Jose gets a result against Juve, can he turn this around realistically? Because the last couple of performances have been excellent. I don't know if I'd say excellent, but there's been times when they've been pretty surprising. I think you would have to say, yeah, if he gets a result at home against Juve, he's got to win Everton and Bournemouth. I still think we're the 4th best team in the country on trend at the moment. I think we are not better than Chelsea, despite drawing with them today.
Yeah.
We're not better than Liverpool and we're not better than City. So I think the best that we can hope for this season is 4th.
Yeah.
And that's just being real. That's not accepting 4th. That's just being real about where we are as a football team at the moment.
The thing with Chelsea is, I think we should have beat Liverpool and we should have beat you, and we've dropped points, both of them.
But then again, it's points. I know it was at home, but I think Sarri's got to play himself into the season. Like I said, I think he's going to have to.
Well, he said it was going to take 3 months. And we've already kicked out. We're unbeaten in all competitions.
The way he's really sort of straight away adapted into the styles and really started playing in midfield especially surprised me, Sarri. So I don't know, give it a bit of time. I think Chelsea will settle into the season.
Oliver Payne says, was this progress since Newcastle? Not near as bad in the first half, but not quite as good in the second. Maybe. I mean, that first half against Newcastle was the lowest point in Jose's reign. I'm not even going to argue anybody.
That was Brighton.
It's just a fact.
That and Brighton, I'd say. Those two were sort of like in the first
half. That game confused me when I was watching it with you, like, considering, like, first half, nothing happens, they don't really want to play. Second half, they just come out bursting with, like, pride and passion and want to get through.
We've seen that at City, we've seen that at Palace away. Where does this come from? Is it coming from the players? But that's why you got to ask these questions.
Get liking the video, please, everybody.
Is it coming from the players? Is it coming from the manager? Why don't we just start playing like that from the get-go?
Have we got any stats to look at? Who have we got? We've got pretty much everybody? Yeah. All right, let's have a look then at... let's have a look at One Matters. Actually, sparingly involved. Not quite as involved as you'd think, but look how deep he goes. That's a proper box-to-box midfielder. He's effective in the opposition box, but he's really done most of his work, in the middle of the pitch. He's done it. Where's my hand gone? There. He's done it like from box to box. I think you've got to be happy with that. Let's have a look at Pogba's as an aside of that. Yeah, Pogba is obviously more on the left. That's all his game, always to drift to the left. But again, box to box, more effective in the final third. Looking at it, lost possession quite a lot. Looking at that too.
Comes deep to the ball though quite often, doesn't he? If you look at that.
Matic. Quite far forward from Matic, actually. A lot of X's in and around.
Yeah, I was going to say near your penalty box.
Yeah, that's not really what you want from him there. Let's have a look at Lukaku, because I thought it was a poor performance from Lukaku today.
Didn't really get involved.
Is there any successful actions in the opposition box? I don't think so. I think there's one right.
I think it was him coming out of in the second half when he did improve in terms of his hold-up play. I think it was more coming outside.
Yeah, there was a bit on the right-hand side.
Look at that, four X's in the box. Didn't get anything. Didn't touch the ball.
No. Well, he could have touched the ball but lost it, which is what that's denoting there. But yeah, no successful actions at least inside the box for Lukaku. And he's a guy that people assume that he is Drogba-like, but he's not Drogba-like. He's in all his career he's pretty much been like a poacher. That's just enormous. So people assume he's this big target man. He can do aspects of that job, but he's not like that. He's a different style of player to what people think. So have a look at Rashford. That was a bit underwhelming today from Marcus. Quite a lot of X's there, not as many successful actions. Tony Marshall, interested to see how this pairs up with... See, now, a lot of those look like successful actions, but as we've shown from the directions of the passes, a lot of them just backwards.
Well, do you want him when he hasn't got
really drifted in there? That's
when he hasn't got the option of the overlap. When he, to be honest, like I said,
because Luke Shaw didn't.
And when he hasn't got, do you want him to try and take 3 or 4 players off, and you know that's going to frustrate Mourinho, or do you want him to look at the safer pass and try get anything out of that?
If you did look at that, he didn't lose the ball. There was a lot of successful actions.
Correct. Which is why I said on the Devils one, and I'll say it here now, he's improving. But he wasn't man of the match for me, even though he scored 2 goals. Because I thought his involvement wasn't enough. I want more.
He's clinical, that's
just because he didn't give the ball away doesn't mean it was great. He's got to do more with that ball. Like, yeah, you're saying he's he's being safe with those passes. That's a good thing, probably away at a top 6 team. You don't want him to just be wasteful in possession. But also, is his movement enough to be getting the dangerous balls?
See, that's the difference in the first half and the second half. In the first half, I was frustrated with Anthony Martial. The second half, though, I thought what him and Marcus Rashford did on the fullbacks and the defenders changed our game. A lot of people might not notice it, but especially with Martial, that's why we ended up picking the ball up in certain positions. I felt like they were coming inside at the right time, and I think they forgot their defensive duties at the right times. They didn't just throw away their defensive duties. They were in position. I think you got to get used to playing against proper wingers.
Something that you often see with wingers nowadays is that they come inside them all inside forwards. He was like a natural, traditional winger there.
A little bit, but he doesn't cross it enough. He doesn't create for other people.
He likes to run inside, but he wasn't receiving the ball in the middle, was he?
He's ahead of Sanchez at the moment. Now, despite me saying that I want to see more from him, I put him ahead of Sanchez on form at the moment. He's been effective without being good, if that makes sense. Does everyone know what I'm saying there? He's been effective in terms of he's been getting goals, but I think there's way more to his game. That being said, he's still ahead of Sanchez and still ahead of Rashford probably on the left-hand side on current form at the moment. The interesting question for United is who can unlock anything on that right-hand side? Can he persist with Rashford for a few more games? Because here's the thing with Jose is that he won't play that very often because he likes to have options on the bench. You can't... This is almost from the horse's mouth. Jose Mourinho can't have all of them 3 playing regularly because Jose likes to have the options on the bench. If you are chasing a game, he can bring on Martial. If you are chasing a game, you can bring on Rashford. But if you are looking to defend a game, you can't use Tony Martial. That's Jose's thinking. Yeah. Now that, like I said, it's almost from the horse's mouth that he can't bring on Anthony Martial to defend the league, but he can bring on Rashford.
But he can bring on Pereira for one of those to defend a game. That's why I want to see Pereira. I think he can bring on Fred.
Lingard, Pereira.
Well, obviously they're currently not in the team, but if I'm looking at what we have now, you've got Jesse and Pereira who can come on, offer something out wide while still playing through the middle.
What is wrong with Lingard at the moment? Because you might say like World Cup hangover and stuff. Because
let's move on.
Shut down.
Just let's move on. One of the questions then we've got is why do we seem to need a goal to go down and start playing? I don't know. It's fucking annoying.
Mentality.
JD United says, what's going on with Ebra?
Just loves the game.
It's not a coincidence he's been sat next to Ed Woodward twice.
And David Gill.
I don't know.
Sandwiched in between them.
You know, I am in contact with Evra, but I don't get a lot from him. So I don't know the reason that he's been sat there. I'd love to know, and I'd love to be able to tell you that I do know, but I don't know. I hope there's something in the pipe. I don't know what. I just hope there is.
Coming in as the next manager, either.
Like all the stuff that people are going, like, you'll soon see what it means to love this club, and people have just been flipping out, going, oh my God, what is it? He's got a book coming out, that's what it means.
Buy it now.
But aside from that, I don't know what the other stuff means. Ash says, why does it take us going behind? Yeah, we've sort of said that one already. What do I make of the Jose Martial hug and smile? Didn't think I'd be seeing that today. At all. Martial proper smiled as well.
Yeah.
Like the proper smile like you get when someone brings you a cornetto that you didn't know about. Yeah. You're like, oh shit, nice one. Proper smile.
It's a great analogy, that.
But do you know what I'm saying? You know exactly like how much you'd be smiling if someone brings you a cornetto. Am I the only one who was hoping for a tear-up between the two teams at the end? Potentially we could have galvanised the squad. There's something to be said for that kind of shit when you get back in the dressing room and everyone's just...
I mean, Rojo was already up for it, mate, if you see the pictures. I love Rojo, man.
Van Miles said, should we see Mata starting more games for us and playing in the 10? His role was pretty crucial for us today. He played as an 8, not a 10, but it's somewhere I would like to see him more. Yeah, definitely.
I think people might see it more in transition. He picks it up in the middle in the 10 role.
Matthew says, feel like the tactic throughout the game was spot on. Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, if you're going to like judge Jose's tactics today, yeah, I think you could say, yeah, spot on. We did concede from a set piece, and I haven't really seen the second goal to really... It just looked like a melee, and it just ended up going in, didn't it? It ricochets off the back of the post, it comes out, like... It's one of them. It happens. He made a lot of good saves, as usual, today. CEAD? Seed? What's Lukaku's aerial duels won today? He seems poor in the air. Let me have a look. Big Rom. Do you know what? A lot that he won, he flipped onto nobody though.
Yeah.
So that's worth. There's no stat that tells you that.
Well, the positioning around him again.
57% pass completion. That's terrible.
I don't think he had a good game.
I don't think he had a good game.
He absolutely
no, but I don't think he had a good game.
I didn't really notice him either, to be fair.
I don't think he had a good game, but
you've got to look
at the movement around him and the movement with him in the box. There's just
one of 5 headers was successful in terms of a pass. Aerial duels, 4 of 8. So all in the middle of the pitch is one in the box. See, that's not enough, and that's why I want more from Tony Marshall, putting more balls in for his number 9, and I want more from. I mean, I'm not even looked at Young's crossing today. I don't actually remember any crosses going in from Ashley Young. Normally it's shite.
He didn't hoof as much today.
He didn't hoof as much. We said that, didn't it? It's almost like because there was times that he looks up and you go, here we go. Ashley Young dig like 4 irons straight down the pitch.
Keepers on. That was a hair loop. Who's set up? Maybe that's what he wants for his stats. Instead of him hitting it, just get De Gea.
It's so frustrating when you. That's why I want to see De Gea come.
Crosses 0 out of 1, and that was from a corner. He didn't actually bang a cross in at all today.
I don't think
there was a really bad corner.
It's short.
He might have to take.
I don't think he had many crosses into the box.
I don't. There was at one point about an hour in, I was like, oh shit, Luke Shaw's playing
more on the defensive side.
Shit.
Let's have a look.
Luke Shaw and 195 grand a week he's playing.
Who the hell are you going to play against?
1 out of 2, and that was both into the box from middle third going forward.
Yeah. Who starts right back against you, mate? Flipping heck.
Oh, Deloe fit. Right, let's have a look at the rest of the questions. Last Blow says, shocked we didn't save one of his subs and bring on Bay for the last 5 minutes like he normally does. What would you have not done that? I don't know what.
This is what I asked you as well.
I liked the 2 subs at the time. I understand maybe even take Lukaku off and just have them 2. And go, just you're in injury time, for Christ's sake. You can do anything, can't you?
Just put men behind the ball.
Babe says, it looks like we're seeing the players who want to play for the badge coming to the front. Who knows, maybe if we had that extra defender and a true right winger that we wanted, we could have seen the game out. Now, yeah, like we were saying, if we'd have had Toby Alderweireld and maybe Willian today, that bit more defensive-minded forward on the right-hand side over Rashford, and maybe I thought the defenders were decent today, but maybe a proper experienced defender might have done some things that others might have. He might have marshalled the line slightly different. Alderweireld and Willian, would that have made a difference today? Probably. And that's the issue that you've got to have. It doesn't matter who you bring in. When the manager's not allowed to select and identify and bring in his targets, and it's not a case of the money wasn't there, because the money was there for other players. The money was there for Varane, who never wanted to come, which is ludicrous. Yeah. But there was 2 players that did want to come, in Willian and Alderweireld, and you probably could have got pretty much both of them for the money it would have cost you for Varane. So why not do it? And people will go, oh, you're buying 29-year-olds. You buy players to do the job.
If you don't trust your manager's judgment, then why do you have that manager in that position?
Bingo.
Like, it's as simple as that for me.
That's deep, mate.
Babe says, will Ashley Young pocket Ronaldo next and put him on his shelf next to Salah and Hazard?
People are already putting their photo shops up.
The under-18s won 7-0 today, and Mason obviously got another couple of goals. As good as Mata was today, can't Alexis do the same role that Mata did today? Maybe. I think he is that little bit more of a striker.
In the middle
as a number 8. I think he's it. I don't think he's got the quality.
He hasn't got the awareness.
If he was going to play in the middle, it'd be a 10.
Jackson says, I think we can't forget how poor that first half was. Seems to be a recent trend. One sweet half, the other will be sour.
I think it takes you a while to get into the game. And then in the second half, we let you play football, and then that's when you capitalised. You're a lot more clinical than a lot of sides.
I was happy that we went, stupid to say, 1 down. Obviously, it's a cliche thing to say, at least we didn't go 2 down. But, like, I looked at it like 1 goal down, you got so much time to just come straight back into the game. Like, even if you can see straight away, you can change your game plan.
Right, I think we are going to wrap it up there, but thank you guys for joining us. Thanks to these 2 guys for joining us today. Go and check out their channels. The links will both be in the description. Come and check us out on Patreon as well. Loads and loads and loads of extra content, and we'll be really focusing on what's going on with the Patreon going forward as well. There's a vlog which goes up on Tuesday. There's a Patreon podcast every single week. There's insider information anytime that I get it, so it's well worth, like I said, think of it as buying as a pint for all the free content that you get on the main YouTube channel. But thank you guys for joining us. Please drop us a like, it really helps the video get found after it's uploaded. Subscribe if you're new around here, and we will see you plenty this week with I've got Ben Thornley podcast coming out on Monday morning. Definitely check that out because he's got some really interesting stories, and then we've got Juve and there'll be a Juve vlog and all sorts of stuff. We'll see you then. Laters. Welcome to the Stephen Howson Football Channel. This is where I will take you through everything that I do revolving around football, be it that at Old Trafford or elsewhere. This is where you will get your match previews, your reviews, your football vlogs, your scout reports, your transfer talk, your youth reviews, your documentaries, and anything and everything revolving around football. I absolutely love this game. Do me a favour and subscribe. Thank you for watching.